Is it even possible to communicate economics using video? We start with a quick introduction to my favourite topic, me, before moving swiftly on to your favourite topic, you, and how you can use video to communicate economics. We're going to talk about my backstory very quickly. In a world full of injustice, one man wanted to be an economist. I started out as an economist. Does anyone recognise who that actor is? Russell Crowe. Does anyone know the film?
Does that say Beautiful Mind?
Beautiful Mind. Has anyone seen it? No one's seen it. Okay, it is 20 years old. Okay, any other economists look like Russell Crowe or an A-list actor? Didn't think so. So, soon after that, I decided I wanted to be an investment banker. Does anyone recognise that actor? It's Charlie Sheen.
That's Charlie Sheen.
Doesn't he look fantastically handsome? And that is the film Wall Street, which is a real classic film about Wall Street, long before the financial crisis, something I really recommend for you to watch. So I wanted to be like Charlie Sheen. When I started out in investment banking, realised that just as not all economists look like Russell Crowe, not all investment bankers look like or act like Charlie Sheen. It was a bit of a fantasy. So from that fantasy, I thought I would try to become a journalist. That is Robert Redford. That's the film All the President's Men, 1976. It's about the Watergate scandal bringing down Nixon, an age where journalists could bring down a president. So I thought I wanted to be a journalist. I realised not all journalists look like or act like Robert Redford. So again, I had to change from my fantasy to start getting into reality. As I was entering the job market, the world was changing, and I could see that if I wanted to solve that problem that we mentioned at the start, that economists are not trusted, I thought video would be the way to do it. And to combine my two passions, one was economics, the other filmmaking, became a filmmaker. Econ Films is the production company that I set up. If you imagine two circles, one is the world of film and video and production, and the other is the world of economics, finance, business, and public policy. Those two circles, where they meet, which is a very, very small overlap, that's where Econ Films exists, and that niche has taken us around the world. When I first started doing this, people didn't believe it was possible to solidify economics into short videos. As you can see, we've worked with a lot of international institutions, and it's that niche that has taken us around the world doing that. Two questions that you should ask whenever you're looking to communicate a bit of economics. Can somebody guess what the first question is?
Who's your audience?
That's the second question. What's the first question?
What's your key message?
What's your message? So, what's your message? And then, who is your audience? Those two questions, which we've asked organizations around the world, has enabled us to make films to get their message out there. So, the 5 steps. We've got the problem, we've got the question, we've got the method, we've got the results, and we've got the takeaway. Can you get across the key points of your research in 2 minutes or less? We think so. Here's how. 1. What's the problem that your audience cares about? Why should your audience care? If you can get them to care about the problem, they'll care about the research.
Each week in the United States, 10,000 people are released from prison, and one of the first things they want to do is get a job. Ban the Box is a policy that prohibits employers from asking about criminal records on the initial job application.
2. What's the specific question that your research looks at that deals with the problem that your audience cares about?
My research asked the question whether Ban the Box policies affect racial disparities in the chance of getting a job interview.
3. The method. In other words, why should your audience believe you?
We sent out thousands of job applications on behalf of fictitious young male applicants, and on these applications we randomly varied whether the applicant was black or white and whether the applicant had a felony conviction or not.
4. The results. Keep this evergreen. We find rather than we found.
We find that white applicants are about 7% more likely to get a job interview than black applicants. However, after Ban the Box goes into effect, white applicants are now 45% more likely than black applicants to get a job interview request.
5. The takeaway. What's the lesson that your audience needs to learn about the problem that they care about?
The policy takeaway is that we really need to think about potential unintended consequences, even of well-intentioned policies.
There you have it. 5 steps to a research video in 2 minutes or less. This is best shown through examples, so we'll go through a few of those. If you're coming to making a video about economics, you really need to think first about what it is you're doing. Alfred Hitchcock, has anyone heard of him? One of the greatest directors of all time. He said that to make a great film, you need 3 things. What are those 3 things?
The script.
In order to get the script, you need to have clear writing. Clear writing comes from clear thinking. That has been said by many people. Many mentors of mine have made that very clear. Going back to what George Orwell said a few slides earlier, what way can you help yourself to think clearly?
Using simple English?
Yes, because then if you use simple English, what will become obvious to you?
Well, the message. So what you're trying to get across.
Indeed, and if you say something stupid, I don't mean you, but if we all say something stupid, if we say it in clear, simple English, it will become obvious even to ourselves. So, clear writing comes from clear thinking, which comes from clear writing. So that's actually a circular argument, and it's going to reinforce itself. The contrary is often true as well, that if you have jargon-fueled, muddled writing, it'll affect your thinking, which will affect your writing, which will affect your thinking. I've actually had this pointed out to me or to a group of economists by Joseph Stiglitz, said that writing best-selling books that anyone can understand helped clarify his thinking. Because in order to write something really clear, you really need to understand it. And it's not just me saying this, it's Nobel Prize winners, it's people who've been working in this field for longer than I've been alive. I can't remember the famous writer, but he wrote a note to his friend and he said, "I'm sorry I've written you a long note. I didn't have enough time to write a short one." The point being, it is harder to get something across in a short period of time. You need to know 2 things to have clear thinking. What are those 2 things?
Your message and your audience.
Fantastic, great. Often it helps to start with a pen and paper and sketch the idea. That's something that, of course, you will have heard a lot in this course. In the next section, we go through feedback on the videos the students themselves have made. Now, even if you haven't made video yourself, this is useful because the mistakes that they make are the same mistakes that all economists make.